right. Well, welcome back, everyone. As promised, we are here to talk about our podcast number 65. This is REI Real Talk for Investors in Real Estate Investing. I'm your host, Mark Woodring, the Director of Investments here at Freedom Real Estate Group. As always, joined by our Director of Acquisitions, Mr. Matthew Packard. And we are going to talk about why invest in Cincinnati. I know that, as we had mentioned on our earlier vlog, that we have spoken a couple times about Cincinnati, the Cincinnati market, and why we're coming back to talk about it again is because Cincinnati, it's just a great market for investors. I know that when people are doing their research and they're looking at what cities to potentially put their money, again, Dayton, where we're at, is a strong market, but what tops the charts every single year is Cincinnati. Great returns on investments. So
absolutely.
Now, Pac, I know that you're from Cincinnati. You lived in Cincinnati a long time, right?
Yeah, well, actually born and raised in Columbus, Ohio.
Okay.
About an hour and a half north, but came down to UC and, got to represent my Bearcats.
There we are.
Graduated and never left. So, but Cincinnati's been my home here for about 20 years now. So I love it. It's a great area. Of course, just talking about investing here in the Midwest, the cost of living is a little lower than, of course, those coasts, the far East Coast and obviously the West Coast. So it's a great market, a great area for investors to invest in. That dollar will stretch a lot longer here, in the Midwest, especially Cincinnati and of course Dayton. But yeah, Cincinnati is a great area, great place. I love it. And yeah, it's definitely attracting a lot of folks to invest here. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously you have a unique perspective because, you run the part of the company that we do the acquisitions. So
absolutely,
the neighborhoods that we're shopping in.
Mm-hmm.
How does the future look? How are we looking in Cincinnati? Are we looking that there's plenty of inventory? Is there shortages? Again, a lot of markets right now might be struggling. What do you think the pulse is for us?
Absolutely. No, Cincinnati's looking good right now. Just because there is a lot of development going on right now.
Sure.
If you look around down over the Rhine, Avondale, Evanston, there's a lot of areas that are just growing and booming, and there's a lot of opportunity there. So as far as the market, it's I don't think there's a shortage of inventory, just yet.
Yeah.
But plenty of opportunity here for sure. It's looking bright.
Yeah, absolutely. And just as a realtor, looking at home prices, and you had mentioned the affordability of them. So again, here in the Midwest, Dayton, Cincinnati, just affordable, but you can see that the values are going up.
Absolutely.
A house that you might have bought 2 years ago has definitely made you money year after year. I think we're also starting to see, and you may agree with this with us, is that the rents, are slowly starting to catch up. I think there was a point where the value of the house was going up faster than you could raise the rent to kekeep that one-to-one.
Absolutely.
That we talk about, again, So for investors just joining us here, that 1% rule is, you buy a house for $100,000. In theory, you should be able to rent it for $1,000 to have that one-to-one ratio. And again, with Cincinnati, the market was exploding. You'd buy a house for $130,000, you might be getting $1,100 in rent. But now that same $130,000 house probably will get you the $1,300 rent.
Absolutely.
Because again, we have maybe touched on this in other podcasts and other vlogs about with the interest rates rising. It's basically, I don't know, each investor might look at things differently. It's not really going to take away your purchasing power. So the opportunities are still there. I think you just have to kind of look into the future. What is your investment going to bring for you? And of course, these rising home values, can't hurt. So
yeah, definitely seeing that. The rising home values are obviously great, and obviously for investors with the rents going up, that's always good for them as well. I did see a recent Fox a poll. They had ranked Cincinnati number 4 in the country in the highest rent increases. So obviously that's always beneficial for investors and things of that nature. So it's looking bright. It's looking good for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and so, just to talk about what's some of the local flavor, why is Cincinnati so awesome? Why do people go to it? What do you do when you're in Cincinnati, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, Cincinnati is definitely, in my opinion, it's going to be a destination city here in the next 10 to 15 years, I do believe. There's a lot going on. Obviously, you have your sports teams, you have your Reds, you have your Bengals. Of course, they made it to the Super Bowl last year, so they're drawing an attraction. And of course, people moving in. There's plenty of corporate headquarters here.
Yeah.
You have P&G. They're headquartered here. You have your Procter and Gamble. They're headquartered here. Your Fifth Thirds, your GEs. So the opportunity just for Kroger. Yeah, how could I forget Kroger? But yeah, just the opportunity of folks moving in for jobs, makes Cincinnati attractive as well. And then just, of course, the local region. You have Cincinnati, which is, close to Columbus, capital city of Ohio. So plenty of things to go there, but it's just a great, just pocket of the Midwest where you can do a lot. So plenty of opportunity here, which of course investors love.
Yeah, absolutely. I personally like going down to Cincinnati, the downtown, lots of restaurants, lots of, I feel like there's a different brewery opening down there. Yep. The river walk. So
absolutely.
Just, when you're down there on the river and you can go right across the city, there's 7, 8 bridges down there.
Yeah, there's a bunch.
So it's just a really cool view. You can hang out on the Kentucky side. You can see the stadiums from over across the river. So yeah, it's great. And then like you had mentioned, some of the different cities, I really like when we do some acquisitions over on the west side of Cincinnati, like what is that? West Price Hill.
Price Hill.
Yeah, there you go. Price Hill. Yeah. So that's really cool. Like, cause again, it's not a flat city. You would think that being right on the Ohio River that things are flat, but there's lots of cool little pockets and hills and.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The geography of it all is great. The different neighborhoods, it all blends well together.
Yeah.
There's a lot of old money here, if you will.
Yeah.
So and you mentioned Price Hill and different places like that. There's great pockets of the city here that just hold tremendous home values.
Yeah.
You'll have old $1 million homes.
Yeah.
2 streets
Hill.
over from Indian Hill. So it's definitely, like I said, I love it here. So.
Yeah,
can't say enough about it.
Absolutely. Lots of great universities here. You
absolutely.
got Cincinnati and the Bearcats. You got Xavier.
Yep. Mount St. Joe's. They're not too far, and there's always a good football squad there. But yeah, the area is great. And speaking of schools, the high schools. You have Walnut Hills. They're nationally ranked. I think the number 1 school in Ohio, if I'm not mistaken. So it's. High school. Yeah. There's a lot
like Moeller, St. X. So you got lots of great high schools. People can move locally to Cincinnati just to be able to take advantage of some of those school districts. And like you had mentioned, just a ton of business opportunity. I remember I was talking to an investor and, he kind of like talked about how he does his investing and, He has, I believe, 7 or 8 properties, and a few of them are duplexes, maybe some single family homes, just mixing it up a little bit. But it was kind of weird when he talked about like how he, has, a little bit of his business that he rents to military, and then a little bit of his, business he does for like hospitals and things like that. And then some people who are maybe even transitioning into a home or things like that. But it was kind of neat that he had it spread out like that. And, as we're sitting here talking, you got to think that is exactly what we're talking about here in Cincinnati. You have the big businesses if you want. You do have the military presence. You have Wright-Patterson Air Force Base not too far away. It's one of the largest, in the nation. And then, of course, you have all the hospitals and things that are in the downtown Cincinnati. So yeah, as an investor, it just makes sense because you're not, if you wind up buying multiple properties, you're not just locked into one sort of like socio-economic group.
Exactly.
So that you can kind of spread your monies around and your properties around in these different neighborhoods. What's that one property we have, like in Harvard? Like that's a cool area. I like that.
Yeah, nice little area over there. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, so you have that. Like, so maybe that's some of the school area. And then, of course, when you're talking about Price Hill, you know what I mean? That's probably more outlying business area. You know what I mean? So I really do like the idea of Cincinnati is a big city with lots of different areas that you can spread your investments around.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a great area to, kind of hit upon that diversify your, the type of assets that you do have. You want your plenty of duplexes and multifamilies, quads, things of that nature. And of course, you have your big single families as well. So you can definitely, like I mentioned earlier, make your dollar stretch and make it look real good here for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Cincinnati. What else? So I know that some of the bullet points that we had talked about is that Forbes has it listed as one of 15 emerging downtowns. I know that they've pumped a lot of money into downtown. I know it's really cool to go down there, hang out before the games.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like festivals. Like right now, I don't know when people are going to be watching this, but we're recording this here in the summer. So there's festivals going on, where they block off the downtown. It's a safe city. When I walk around Cincinnati, I there's never really a part of the town where I don't feel, just safe at home. Yeah. It's real nice.
Absolutely. And they've made a concerted effort to do that. Just like I said, when I got here, years ago, it's a vast difference, to what it is now. You're talking, 20 years ago, you have riots on the same streets where you have now $400,000 condos.
Right.
So it's definitely changed. It's definitely a safe place, definitely a safe area. You're gonna have all kinds of things to do, all kinds of festivals. There's concerts every weekend, in Washington Park and all kinds of things to do down on the banks.
Mount Lookout,
Mount Airy. It's plenty to do. So any investors wanting to tap in, this is
right. Time. Anybody watching, you want to come and roll through Cincinnati? We'll tour guide.
Definitely, let me know. We'll show you a good time.
Absolutely. So again, I know that it's maybe a competitor or another teacher of buying and selling, but Fortune Builders ranked Cincinnati as the best rental market in 2021. Nice. So, so that's, again, just more kudos that other companies are paying attention to what's happening here in Cincinnati. I'm sure that, on the acquisition side that it's probably getting, tougher because you can see more people are getting the word. And so a lot more people are in here trying to shop the market. And
so absolutely. That is of course a challenge we have here in acquisitions. Everybody I'm not gonna say everybody, a lot of people wants to be a wholesaler now, and So everybody thinks they know how to do it.
Right.
But we're actually helping some people. We're showing them the right ways to go about that, but it does make it a little bit difficult on the acquisition side. Yes, there's plenty of inventory out there, but there's also a lot of people going after it. So,
Yeah.
like I said, it's just about us doing our due diligence, make sure we're staying ahead of the game, and just putting a foothold here. So, but yeah, it is definitely, like I said, a great market. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like what you had said earlier about that you see this as being a destination city, and again, as a realtor, I always say I don't have the magic crystal ball to tell the future, but again, I agree with your point on that. There's just a lot to do. The value for the home is there. The explosion in rentals and people that want to rent here in Cincinnati, I think, are just future years out.
Absolutely.
It's not going to slow down. If anything, it's going to gain more momentum as the word gets out. Again, we talked about that 1%. That's there.
Oh yeah.
Some of our properties, when you do the duplexes and things like that, they're well above 1%.
Absolutely.
And so
absolutely.
Yeah. So, it's just great market. I'm sure that, our subscribers here, when you get on and just kind of pull up Cincinnati, any kind of report that you see, it's just going to cite, how good the city is, how great the rental markets are, how great your dollar goes, all the business that's coming to town. Just all these neighborhoods that are opening up and being renovated, just a lot of prosperity. You can go on and on and on. And, obviously we got to keep our podcast not too crazy,
Sure.
enough to keep you excited, but not
just
enough.
To keep you excited. Absolutely. And with that, yeah, anybody out there looking to get involved, definitely reach out to us. Obviously, reach out at marketfreedomrealestategroup.com. You can reach out to me at acquisitions over at cashprowhouses.com. We'll be there. We can hold your hand through the whole process if you're, really looking into it. So,
absolutely.
Don't hesitate to reach out.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Pac, as always, I definitely appreciate your time and talking about your home city and
absolutely.
I love it. We have here.
Absolutely.
But, so, as we always like to sign off, we always like to tell our investors to invest smart,
live happy.
You got it. Thanks, everyone.
Have a good one, folks.
Appreciate it.
Nothing on this show should be considered specific personal or professional advice. Please consult an appropriate tax, legal, real estate, financial, or business professional for individualized advice. Opinions and information on this show are not guaranteed. All investment strategies have the potential for profit or loss.